Checklists are one of my favorite features in Trello. They're great for creating detailed instructions on a particular project. I actually really enjoy them most often on repeating projects. I'll show you an example of that later on. But there are 4 different things I want you to know about checklists. The first thing is how to create a checklist. Well, all you need to do is to have a card or add a card to Trello. So new card here. And then once you've got that card, you could just click on the card to open it up and then find that side navigation bar and hit checklist. So you can just add a checklist very quickly like that, or you can rename my checklist right here like so. I'm going to say that's checklist number 3 and then click either enter like so or the add button. Then from here, just, hey, step 1, thing 2, don't forget this. Remember to do that. Very easy to add. I'm just typing them in here. I'm using the web-based app on Chrome. You can do this on your iOS or Android device as well. It's super easy to create a checklist wherever you want to. So that's the first thing I want to show you. Second thing I want to show you about checklist is copying checklists. Let's say you created a checklist and it was detailed, it was perfect, and you just wanted to use that over again. So instead of writing a new one and adding it right there, you can see copy items from and just select rename checklist 3. I'm going to call that number 4, and then boom, the same checklist shows up. So you can copy checklists. One thing to note is that you can only copy checklists from the lists that are found on the particular board. So if you don't have a checklist on a card on a particular board, you could move that card to the board if you want to copy that checklist, but otherwise it needs to be part of the board. So that's copying checklists. The next thing that not a lot of people know about, I actually think I found this on accident. Let's say you were writing up a checklist of things that you wanted to remember for a camping trip in Evernote or Google Doc or a Word doc, and you wanted it, you're like, oh man, I should put this in Trello because that's where I manage all my actions. So you create a checklist right here, you add it, and you can copy and paste that text in. So you can see right here, every time there's a line break, you can add it, and it will create a new checklist item for that. So it's really easy to put checklist into Trello. It's actually a little harder to get them out. I haven't found a good way of let's say you created a big checklist and you wanted to get it out of Trello. Yeah, the formatting isn't always the best on that. So it's easy to get in, but not always to get out. So that is pasting checklist into Trello. So writing it, copying it, pasting it. And here's another thing, man, I think I used Trello for 3 years before I knew how to do this. So if you take some of the words right here and just put a bracket around them. So you put a bracket around those words, and then you put a parenthesis, and then just take a URL. This one happens to be a Google Doc of a procedure that I use to make sure all the show notes are done correctly on my podcast, Able Business Radio, shameless plug. Save it right there, and you've got a URL, a link that goes to a new page. So this is perfect if you do have some sort of repeating tasks and you want to link to some outside resources. I've helped people create sales funnels with links to different documentation that they need to follow. I've had onboarding procedures where it's saying, okay, we need you to go through these 6 videos and then log into these 2 websites right here. And we created checklists for all that and put hyperlinks in those checklists to make it just super easy, super effective. A little bonus tip I would say is if you do take a lot of time to create a fancy series of checklists, so right here, here's the steps I need for podcast editing, then social media images, and then social media sharing. You want each one of these things done every single time, but you don't want to have to open up a new card and then copy each one of those checklists, even though you could go to the checklist and then copy from and then blah, blah, blah. And it's a little time consuming. What you could do is actually just copy the whole card. And so go copy the card, create the card, and you can have an exact duplicate of that information right there. So that is checklists. Very effective for personal productivity, making sure you don't miss steps. even more effective for team and business productivity to make sure things get done in the right way. I use it all the time with the people that I work with, just to ensure that everything gets done the way that I would like to the first time, or things get done consistently correctly. So this is a little taste of Trello. This is how to use checklists. If you enjoyed this and you're thinking about diving in deeper, maybe using it for your personal productivity or for organizing the work on your team, especially if you're a consultant or a coach, a freelancer, working with a lot of different people, I would recommend going to my site at zacharysexton.com/Trello-tour, where I have a whole tour of Trello. I take about, let's see how long it actually is. It's a little over an hour long, where I go over anything and everything. This is a presentation I did very recently, so all the updates in there are new. If you go to zacharysexton.com/Trello-tour, you can get a good sense of what the tool is and what the tool can do to make sure it is something you want to investigate further. So that's it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope Trello, I hope this video, I hope checklist serve you well in the future. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you want to get more Trello tips, and give a little like. Yeah, that would thumbs up, not a like. You can like it too. You can say in a comment, I like this, and then you can give it a thumbs up, and that would make my day. Thank you so much. I will stop talking now.